Hi, I'm John Stabb. I used to be in a band that you're probably watching already, listening to occasionally. Hopefully you're buying our records, making me lots of money so I can put down that royalty, put down that down payment on an island like Mick and Keith. Well, you're going to be watching, or you've already watched, a lot of footage that came from this place when it was called the Wilson Center. Wilson Center was like a church hall, which it's still a Central Presbyterian church. It was organized in May 1868 and rebuilt in 1913. As you can hear, there's a lot of traffic, police cars, ambulances, whatever going around here. It's a busy area. There's hundreds of punk shows back in the old 80s, the early 80s. As you can hear, the area is still just pretty noisy. There's ambulances, there's police cars around, there's always something going on. But like I said, in the early days, in the early 80s, it was a lot more dicier at the nighttime shows that they put on here, or the matinee shows. People would be sitting up there in between bands, in between like a set from like Minor Threat or something. Oh, where you go? Police. 4 police cars, to be exact. Between sets of bands, when it was just so hot in the summertime, people would just come up here and sit at the steps and hang out. There was various people from the old days just like hanging out, and occasionally you would have like some just crazy street person, some like whatever, just like, you know, waving a gun or something. Like people rushed out to see what was going on. It was just, you never knew what was going to happen at Wilson Center. It was just a really cool place to see shows, a big church hall, and the place was so hot in the middle of the summer, in about June, August, July time, that when the bands even played, like GI, Minor Threat, Artificial Peace, Iron Cross, Deadline, Void, any of those bands, any of the out-of-town bands, the place was so hot. It used to get so steamy in there without any ventilation, any kind of air conditioning in the middle of summer, that the ceiling would drip on you and the walls would sweat. So it was like this place was like dripping on you. It was like raining upon you as you played a show. It's really crazy. It was like the walls were sweating. It was like the place was alive. It was crazy. It was like the place was dripping on you. It was just, it was raining down on your hardcore event. The old Wilson Center used to have great, amazing, chaotic, crazy shows. And this place has been rebuilt over the years. Back in the early 80s, it was having all kinds of steps going up the columns. The columns are pretty much like the old columns, but they've been redesigned. The show that I'm going to basically talk about is a show that it's on this DVD, and you've either watched it already or watched my bonus talking bits. It was a show that GI played, famous flyer, XXX thing, the DC flag, whatever. It was June 25th, 1982. The show that is on this DVD is from a show that featured Government Issue from Boston, Gangrene, Faith Locals, Artificial Peace, Scream, and Deadline. Wilson Center is at 15th and Irving Northwest in Washington, D.C. Now, Wilson Center used to have all kinds of crazy punk rock shows here. The Wilson Center was just an amazing place to see shows. There was many hardcore punk rock events back here. It was just a really cool place to come to. Definitely the area was a little dicier than it is these days. It's been upgraded around the Columbia Heights area. Like I said, it's been rebuilt, redesigned. The place is now I think it's a cultural center that kids come to, and they do a lot of activities here and things. It was a great place, but the neighborhood used to be a lot more dicey back in the early 80s. There was punk rock shows with various bands, GI, Minor Threat, Artificial Peace, Void, Scream, thousands of others. Misfits played here, a lot of out-of-town bands like the Misfits. TSOL played here. Actually, no, they didn't. I'll take that back. But Vandals played here, lots of out-of-town touring bands with a lot of DC punk rock bands. Lots and lots of bands played down here, and they always kind of got upstaged by the local DC hardcore bands.